Hello there, and welcome to the final or possible final match. That's between Spooky Action at a Distance and Templis Calsf. So, do you want to go through Templis first, Jin?
I would if my camera thing was working. Give me a second here.
Oh no, I'll
But
tell
yeah,
you what I'll do. You good?
no, I got it. So
Go, go, go.
it looks like Spooky Action at a Distance are bringing something very similar to what we just saw in that last match, that last little Joker match against the Harlem Globetrotters of Eve, with an Eos, a Neros, Ishtar, Stratios, Vex and Navy issue, Zvipul, and Vengeance. So a very heavy drone armor sort of composition, and they're going up
Abs-
against. Do you want to go for
yeah,
Tempest?
absolutely. Yeah, Templis. They're bringing Balgorn, Dangerous Ship, Aneros, Navy Harbinger, Navy Brutix, Hyena, Blackbird, Crucifier, relying on that E-War potentially again. This is something very similar that was seen from them, I think, historically.
Oh yeah, it's something we've seen throughout this tournament though. This kind of Balgorn supported Navy battlecruisers. It cribs from what we saw in the last AT actually, and it's been very effective there. So let's just see how it goes up against this very interesting drone setup from Spooky Action. After all, they do have a game to play with. Maybe they're just feeling out their opponents here.
Absolutely, and I mean it's just nice to, I do miss the old drone boats, and so it's nice to see them like turn up again. So having seen the actual like team comps now, have you changed your mind at all? You were going for Templis, are you going to change over to Spooky?
No, I'm still going with Templis. I think that their comp is more well-rounded here. They've got a lot more DPS, a lot more range, and a lot more redundancy. Whereas I think if that Eos or that Ishtar gets put out on the red side, they are going to be out. And here we go. The match is about to start. Let's see what the first primaries are.
There again, you look at the defense, attack, and control bars. Templar's control bar is broken. Basically, it's like a huge amount of control.
Yeah, both sides bringing just huge amounts of it here. And we can see the turbo in the Vex and Navy issue is the primary here, being webbed, nosed, and webbed and painted. Obviously, it's worth noting that the Balgorn's main bonus is the fact that it can apply Nosses with the same efficacy as neutralizers. Oh, and as we say that, the Neros has been tackled, caught out of position there, perhaps on the Templis Calsf side. That's a huge That's a huge problem for them.
I mean that could be really like dangerous for them. And to like counter it, looks like they've switched over the damage to the Neros on the Spooky team, but it might be too late because Amar is going to really be under some pressure now.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do some amazing work to stay alive for long enough for Achilles on the opposing team to go down. This is wow, it's actually really close.
It is hugely close.
The medium range guns, the medium long range guns from those Harbingers and the Brutix Navy, just really shredding through him here. They have so much application and so much range that they can do a lot more damage than these drones. As we see the trade going back and forth. Oh, hitting out and gone.
Absolutely. So Spooky's like gone, but I don't think that Omar is necessarily safe at the moment either. Still lots on them, but this may just be a little bit of catch up.
Yeah, it's a little bit of catch up, but the Ishtar of Van is taking huge amounts of things. This is going to turn into a DPS race. All of that control might be for nothing as these teams just trade punches right here in the opening minutes.
Absolutely, and I mean it's like with the logic component out of the way, it is going to be down to how they can apply the control. Obviously, the E-War element won't mean anything once you've actually applied the drones from the Spooky team. So once they get set onto a target, as long as they were able to lock, those drones will just keep ticking over.
Well, you say that, but it's actually worth noting that the Blackbird seems to be focusing all of its jams on the Zvipul and Vengeance, really stopping that support from getting in and tackling anything, which is going to allow their team to spread out a little more, make the drones have to fly, really take advantage of the delayed DPS of that weapon system. But as I say that, the Ishtar appears to have managed to coast its way to safety, not tackled down well enough, so they've had to switch onto a second target. This is going to cost them huge because that Ishtar took so much time, and yet it's still in the field and it's still going to be able to put out its DPS on the enemy team with no repercussions.
That Stratius, though, being flown by Rip, could be going Rip quite soon.
Yep, as it enters structure there, it doesn't seem like One for the World is gone as well. That Harbinger looking there at 3/4 armor, not sitting pretty, but it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, but with the Stratius gone, Stratius historically very good at damage dealing. Spooky is still got a relatively mobile team, but with that Feeple,
They're
that's just
taking out
been
its
kind of
support.
taken out. Yeah, Spooky are definitely not in a particularly good place now.
Spooky aren't in a good place, but they still have their core 3 ships. They still have their Eos, their Ishtar, and their Vex Navy. The 3 main things that are going to do damage, still alive. Whereas the Harbinger Navy of Templis Calsf is going into structure now. Can't be long for this world. That Balgon really has to find and catch that Ishtar soon, or this might actually still be in trouble for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's still definitely a little bit of doubt there. What did we use? That was the Harbinger, wasn't it? Just
Yeah, we just
lost
lost the
there.
Harbinger. Oh, that Vex
That
Navy,
Vexen,
is it coasting out of range? I can't tell, but the damage seems to really slow down on it. Has it just managed to slip through the cracks of the tackle of the enemy team? Yes, it does. Looks like that. Just inches, tiny bits of damage getting applied to it as it tries to coast its way to victory, heading towards the edge of glory. Is it going to try and bait the Balgon into boundarying? No, it looks like it's slowed down and it's out. Oh, that's critical here. Leaving,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of it's looking as if Templis have definitely started to get better control of this spooky team now. It was interesting for them to come out with the drain kind of comp. It was interesting for the Balgon to be present, and also the Evil component as well from Templis.
yeah, it's worth noting that the Ewa of that Crucify was almost completely useless in this match. They were effectively just 3 points down from the off, and it doesn't seem to have slowed them down one bit. Now the Templis Calcif team is just looking, positioning, trying to get tackle on one of those few remaining ships, as it doesn't look like they're under a huge amount of pressure. The Hyena seems to have got itself safe, and everything else seems to be up. And yeah, there we go, tackle on the Eos.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be an opportunity for Templis to actually kind of stabilize. I mean, they just had a good run there, a good exchange that they won, and so they can probably now just regroup a little bit and yeah, start thinking about just surviving and tearing apart the rest of the spooky team.
Yep, showing why the Balgon has been banned in so many matches so far. Just tearing through everything from support to DPS to Logi.
Yeah, I mean, the Balgon has been consistently a solid ship to actually base the rest of the team around. But that and Neros kind of battle initially. I mean, that was surprising. It was literally kind of down to the boosters realistically that they had for their self tank.
Yep, just so much DPS being poured onto it. And look, you can see another attempt to take down the Brutix Navy issue there from the remaining parts of Spooky Action at a distance. It looks like neither of them are tackled, and whilst they are taking chip damage, it's not huge amounts. They seem to be able to kite this team relatively well now that they don't have that Navy Harbinger.
Absolutely, but there again, with the evil component still on field, obviously that has been, its effect has been increased considerably. The less ships that there are available.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. There's so much potential here still for an upset, as we can see that Brutix Navy issue taking significant damage and nothing is being tackled on Spooky Action. They're getting to kite this around. I think we might have called this a bit too soon, as there's still hope here for the Spooky Action at a distance team.
There is indeed, and I mean, if they do actually get the Navy Brutix, then that means that the points are going to be all tied, completely square there.
Yep.
So excellent piloting on the side of Spooky there for actually still being able to, hang in there with a decent chance.
Yeah, we can see that Vengeance being primaried now, but those, they don't have any major application bonuses. The only thing they've got is that Painter on the Hyena, and I don't know if that's going to be enough. Yeah, you can see it's just taking little tiny chips of damage. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill it in the 2 minutes they have left. Whereas Spooky Action at Distance is going at a good clip on that Brutix Navy. They might be able to do it. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, I'm just kind of like watching there. Just wonderful control and like position. It looks like on the part of like Spooky, but they've still got a lot of work to do, and only a minute and a half to actually do it in.
Yeah, by the looks of things, actually, the team of Templis Calsf are just shooting drones at this point, just trying to force drones to be pulled back in and back out. Desperately trying to keep that DPS race from happening effectively. And it looks like it's working well, as we can see the damage having significantly slowed down on that Brutix as they're being forced to pull drones in and out, in and out.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just got to 60% armor now, and it is still going down gradually. But I mean, it really is. This could go right to the wire here. It's like 55%. There's 50 seconds on the clock. Somehow, Spooky need to get a little bit more damage applied out to that Navy Brutix.
Yeah, and meanwhile, they've got nothing. They've got no health to work with. If they rush in, they might just die before the time's up. Is there anything they can do? And they're applying damage to the Crucifier here, and this isn't going to do enough. If they take down that Crucifier, it's not going to help them. They need to kill that Brutix Navy. I can't help but think they didn't have someone assigned to watching the clock here to let them know how long they have left. And yeah, we've seen good fights called in local. Wow, what a crazy match.
I mean, yeah, completely. I mean, not what I was expecting at all. I mean, Templis did come out with a more standard composition. Spooky went for that kind of Hail Mary play almost. So at the moment, it's looking very much as if we're going to have another match.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're going to see a final rerun of this competition to see who really is going to walk away. This makes them both even, both lost one match, but only one match. And we're gonna have to see what theory crafting goes on behind the scenes in the brief couple of minutes they're gonna have between these matches and the next to bring us an exciting conclusion to the Anger Games.
Absolutely. The only bit that I'm really worried about is whether or not they're going to force us to do another match. But anyway, it's like there we have it. Is a convincing win, realistically, for Templis, but like some excellent flying from Spooky. We aren't going to have like another match, and we're now going to head back over to the studio, and I'm sure we've got a few talking points there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we won't have the captains though, as Soffer Solar intimated earlier. They've got a lot to prepare and very little time to do it.